Hi, I'm Ashley Swartz, founder and CEO of Furious Minds. Check us out at furious-minds.com. I want to talk this week about what the Newfronts, Upfronts mean for media and what it says and reflects about in regards to the state of media overall. First thing that was notable is that this whole idea of upfronts and newfronts isn't really two separate distinct events anymore, right? The reality is that it's 16 weeks, 58 participants or media companies, which started with Oxygen on the 5th of February and is going to end with Time Warner Cable on the 6th of June. The reality is that the newfronts, which were sort of the attempt to be a middle finger to the television upfronts for the digital players last year, is formally between the 29th of April and May 3rd. If you look at the kind of website and what IAB said, right, the old players are back, the original sponsors, the Microsofts, the Yahoos, the Hulus, Digitas, who was the original founder, the guys that have doubled down on premium online video. We've got some new players as well coming forward as print companies that are coming forward as digital companies that are old players in print, like the Wall Street Journal and Conde Nast Entertainment. You then got the television guys that are coming forward and having separate events. Some have chosen not to, but there are a few that are bullish on digital only, like Disney and CBS Interactive. And then you have that WTF category of guys like Zynga that are coming out with a digital upfront, not knowing exactly what they're going to present and if video is truly a cornerstone of their media portfolio. The thought is by a lot of analysts that 2013 upfronts are going to be sort of flat from last year. So let's look back as to where we were in 2012, right? If we in fact have more of the same. The Big Five only saw an increase of 2% in spend from 2011. And depending on who you talk to, the estimate was that there was about $8.8 to about $9.3 billion allocated to the Big Five networks in 2012's upfront. Cable came through with a big surprise in that the cable networks in total exceeded spend in the Big Five, bringing in over $9.8 billion and seeing a 5% lift in spend year over year from 2010. The word on the street, I've heard from TV buyers and through TV buyers, is they're bullish, and at a point in time right now, they're saying double-digit growth, right? The economy has been up. The expectation marketers are going to be more bullish. They're willing to invest because consumer spend is going to increase. But the unfortunate part of this week is that the jobs report came out. Employment numbers are down, and that resulted in the S&P being down on Friday after an incredible bullish run the last 2 weeks. And who knows what that's going to mean given that we're in the midst of these upfronts and newfronts. In 2013, networks, have really had to get creative in regards to how to deliver more for less, which is what advertisers are requesting. The reality is their major programming is the audiences are down 5% year over year. We're seeing consistently for each season. And with the fact that total eyeballs are down or audiences have decreased, they're going to have to do more for each one of those eyeballs in regards to how they actually activate them for advertisers in order to hold revenue steady. The table stakes have in fact been raised. So what have we seen in this year's Newfronts as far as the strategy programmers are taking, right? Well, the conversation first and foremost about is it C3 or C7 has been a possible tactic. This year we're holding steady with C3, but the guys at CBS like Les Moves are very bullish on that. We've started to leverage OCR and online campaign ratings overall, right? Because now we're bundling premium online video and derivative content that's being distributed digitally as make good for television if in fact we see the resulting primetime sort of viewing audiences decrease. There's going to be some interesting things that happen with scatter and how scatter is used as a leverage or a hedge because of core upfront sales being down. Scatter is going to be crunched if in fact they underdeliver and need to leverage it as make goods, driving scatter pricing up. We're seeing a lot of interesting diversification, right? Discovery is coming forward, for example, with scripted TV and live events, because time and time again we see that live events and sports are the ones that are actually up year over year and driving the audience, and quite often probably the biggest combatant towards cord cutting. There are new shows. Bravo's coming out with 17 new programs. We see new channels. So FX is launching FXX or FXX, but we're seeing a proliferation of content and channels themselves to actually capture new dollars, new audiences. Nickelodeon has coined the neo-millennial demographic to reach to advertisers because television overall right now is under-delivering on opportunities for advertising to children. We have new distribution strategies. So Participation Media launched Pivot, which is a non-fiction documentary kind of centric network, and they're really going bullish on their distribution of looking at over the top, web, and even Netflix, and then throwing a throwback in there with print with a partnership they have with Rolling Stone. A little bit of the same old as well. CBS is sticking to what it knows and what it does well with 17 programs they're renewing. And we have the Weather Channel that's coming back to what worked in the past after 5 years of being absent from the upfronts. They're back this year. And then there's this idea of sort of just giving it away, where everything else around television that's occurring, we can bundle that in as an integrated sale to drive core television dollars. So what does this all mean? Well, what I've concluded is that the organic consolidation of the upfront and Newfronts after only 1 year means that there's an unwillingness by programmers to change old business models, right? So they're going to adapt to what's happening and changing audience behavior by just redefining the definition of TV instead of having to redefine their business. Power at the end of the day, just by virtue of spend holding constant in and of itself, even if there's minimal growth, still lies with programmers and operators, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to retain that value and hold that power position. The other thing that I'm really noting is that the runway for revenue for pure plays of over-the-top TV everywhere, second screen, social television are getting ever increasingly more challenged. If these are going to continue to be value-add giveaways for integrated sales to drive the core price of television up and being looked at as a cost of sale to drive television inventory, these independent businesses are going to struggle to find a model that has sustainable revenue because the audiences are still challenged. I welcome your comments. Reach out to us. Give me an email at ashley@furious-minds.com. Thanks.